Today we will begin with the fourth unit, that is animal tissues. Till now we have studied about the plant morphology, anatomy, their tissue system. In multicellular organisms, the tissue system is more complex in nature as compared to that of plants due to its property of division of labor. Each cell in multicellular organisms performs specific tasks and have specific arrangement. This cell combines to form tissues. Various tissues form their specific systems, which combines to form organ systems, and finally the body of an organism. Due to this nature of organisms, multicellular organisms, the complexity nature occurs. Animal has basically four types of tissues. Each basic tissue has its own characteristic and distinguished appearance. As it can be seen from the chart, animal tissues has four types, that is epithelial, connective, muscular and nervous. These four tissues has further subdivisions. Let us understand each in detail. So first of all, let us begin with epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue is generally located or covers the external surfaces of the body. And few internal surfaces of many organs. Thus, the basic function of epithelial tissue is protection, absorption, and secretion. Example, the skin, which acts as the outermost surface of the human body or any organism, possesses epithelial tissue, or rather is made up of epithelial tissue. Thus, the skin acts as protective in nature, performs absorption and secretion functions by absorbing water, many necessary salts. As shown in figure, the cells are arranged very closely to each other, which possesses extracellular matrix in very few amount. These cells resist on a non-cellular basement membrane. Apart from the lining of skin, epithelial tissue is builds up alimentary canal, blood vessels, respiratory organs, and many others. Now the epithelial tissue. Now let us understand the classification. The epithelial tissue is basically of two types, simple and compound. On the basis of forms and functions of cell, simple is further divided into five types, that is squamous, cubical, ciliated, columnar and pseudostratified. In similar manner, compound is divided into two types, stratified and transitional. Simple epithelial tissue is basically made up of single layer of cells. On the contrary, compound epithelial tissue is made up of more than one type of cell. Let us understand these tissues in detail. First of all, let us begin with simple epithelial tissue. First type of simple epithelial tissue is squamous. As it can be seen from the figure, the squamous epithelial tissue are thin and flat. They possess a basement membrane. Here, the edges are joined very closely in such a way that they seem to be joined with the help of a cement-like material, forming delicate lining or covering. On observing from surface point of view, these tissue seems to be composed of flat tiles-like material, just like as pavement. Thus, this type of epithelial tissue is also known as pavement epithelial tissue. Here the cells are thin, flat and polygonal. Apart from this, they possess a strong oval or circle shaped nucleus, which is very important in nature. The main function of squamous epithelial tissue is protection. This tissue provides protection to the underlying tissues. Example, the skin of frog is made up of squamous epithelial tissue, which as a result forms inner lining of lungs, alveoli, digestive tract and many others, which acts protective in nature. The next type of simple epithelial tissue is cuboidal epithelium. Here, in this type of epithelial tissue, the cells are arranged in a cuboidal manner. That is, on observing from the vertical section, they are arranged in square form, and from horizontal section, they appear to be polygonal. Here, the main function of cuboidal epithelium is protection. Apart from this, there are two more important functions of this type of epithelial tissue, that is absorption or secretion. These cells participate in the function of secretion of various substances like gastric juices, hormones, enzymes, and many others. In order to perform the absorption function, special thin surfaces known as microvilli are present on the surface of the organs, which includes kidneys, that is on their proximal tubules. These microvilli are found to be attached in order to perform absorption function of the necessary salts and minerals. Apart from this, microvilli are also found to be present on the absorptive surface of salivary gland, pancreatic duct, thyroid gland, and ovary. The third type of epithelial tissue is columnar epithelium. In this type, the cells are arranged in a column-like manner, that is tall, like pillars. Here, the inner ends are narrow and elongated, but free ends are broad and possesses polygonal surfaces. The main function of columnar epithelial tissue is secretion or absorption. This type of epithelial tissue is generally present and forms the inner lining of mucous membrane of stomach, intestine, gallbladder, and urinogenital ducts. Next type of epithelium is ciliated epithelial tissue. This type of epithelial tissue is almost same as columnar one, or rather we can say slight modification of the columnar tissue. Here, cells bear thin protoplasmic processes on surfaces called cilia. Hence, this type of tissue is known as ciliated epithelium, which acts for absorption or secretion of enzymes, juices, and hormones. Cilia are furnished with extremely delicate hair-like protoplasmic processes. The main function of cilia is to move particles and free cells or mucus in a specific direction. Thus, cilia is furnished with delicate hair-like processes. Apart from this, the main function of cilia is movement of free cells or particles in a specific direction. These cells are generally present in the auditory tube of ear, or respiratory tract, and many others where the movement of free particles is necessary in a particular direction. The next and last simple epithelial tissue is pseudostratified. In this type of epithelial tissue, simple columnar cells are arranged in a distorted manner. That is, this type of tissue is also a modification of simple columnar in which the regular arrangement of cells gets disarranged or gets arranged in a distorted manner. In this type, although the tissue is single layered, but appears to be multi-layered due to its false appearance. Since they are twisted with respect to each other to give a false appearance. This type of epithelium is generally present in the inner linings of trachea, large bronchi, bronchioles, which helps to remove mucus. Till now we have studied one of the two types of epithelial tissue, that is simple. Next is compound epithelial tissue. Here more than one type of cell is present, giving thick-like appearance. Compound epithelial tissue basically consists of two types, that is stratified and transitional. Let us understand the two types in brief. Let us begin with the stratified compound epithelial tissue. As seen from the figure, this type of epithelial tissue is responsible for the wear and tear, like the flattened cells gets worn out from the top surface, such as in the epidermis of skin. Apart from this, it is also present in the lining of mouth cavity, esophagus, tongue. It provides a durable covering to these organs, out of which all the cells, forming different layers, in this type are of different kinds. Unlike simple epithelial tissue, where all the cells are arranged in of the same kind. In stratified type of epithelium, how does the tear and wear process moves? Let us understand now this. Now due to erosion, the cells towards the flattened surface becomes more flat and are removed. That is, the wearing process goes on, whereas the lower cells by division go on adding towards the upper surface. Here cell division occurs by mitosis. Thus newly formed cells occurs due to division from low to upper surface, and from the upper surface the flattened cells which are not of use gets teared away. Thus it consists of more than one cell and gives a stratified appearance, due to which this type of epithelial tissue is known as stratified epithelium. This lower layer of cells, which is arranged on a basement membrane, is known as germinative layer or Malpighian layer. The main function of this tissue is providing protection to the underlying tissues. On the basis of shape, stratified epithelium is further divided into many types. For example, in stratified cuboidal epithelium, Since the cells are arranged in a cuboidal manner, such a type of epithelium is known as stratified cuboidal epithelium. The difference between the simple cuboidal and stratified cuboidal is that the simple cuboidal is made up of a single layer of cell of the same type. On the contrary, that of stratified cuboidal, the cells are arranged in a cuboidal manner where all the cells are of different kind, which makes it a multi-layered cell. Such a type of tissue is generally present in larger salivary glands and pancreatic glands or ducts. Similarly, another type of stratified epithelium is stratified squamous epithelium. Here, the cells are arranged in thin and flat-like manner, which are arranged in a multicellular and multi-layered way. On this basis, stratified squamous epithelium, on the basis of presence of proteins, is divided into two types. If the protein is present, that is, if keratin is present on the surface, then such a type is known as keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Similarly, if the protein keratin does not occur on the surface of cells, then such a type of tissue is known as non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Another type of compound epithelia is transitional compound epithelium. This type of tissue is also similar as that of non-keratinized stratified epithelial tissue. This type of tissue is generally present in the passage of excretory organs.